Last night, I played Super Smash Brothers. That's my game. I kicked some you-know-what. And I took his name. His name was Reggie.
I plan to share a lot of my feelings on Nintendo of Japan's president with the expectation of him living a long life for several more decades, not being taken far too young. In doing research for a collaboration that as of now has not been released, I stumbled upon an interview that left me with a great respect for Iwata. His dedication to the fans and desire to please others was an inspiration. He rose to the role of president because he inspired others. Even if he may not have been the best at running a business, he was an incredible leader. Back when Mother 3 was a newly cancelled N64 game, he, Miyamoto, and Itoi conducted an interview. He had been leading the Mother 3 development team and had recently become president. The three men were candid with a sense of sincerity. He acknowledged taking the role as president had ultimately led to the game's death. Without him to guide and keep the project in line, it ballooned to a size far larger than could be completed before the GameCube was completely established. To move development to the GameCube would mean the project would have to be almost restarted from scratch. For much of the game's development, he had been pressured to cancel it, but he refused. Now looking at the prospect of the game slipping into a costly Duke Nukem-length development cycle, he had no choice but to cancel it. It was clear he wanted to make it happen, and we know he made sure Mother 3 happened. This was the point when Sakurai stopped work on replacing NES and Melee. It was not a light or easy decision for anybody at Nintendo. Itoi acknowledged Iwata's role as, when Iwata was able to be on site full-time, he was good at making decisions to deal with parts that weren't up to par. Even when he had to deal with it in patches, he didn't wait until something was finished, up to a certain point to look at it. He kept an eye on it and saw what was lacking, what needed more attention, and when he needed to crack the whip with the team, or when to let them rest. As long as he was there, he could cover it, but it was hard to manage all that when he was gone. Everything took drastically more time. Miyamoto added, even though we all understood Iwata's situation, we were in a position where we needed to ask for certain things from him. We would tell him, you're going to collapse if you work that hard, as we piled more things onto his workload. If you want to say that Iwata couldn't do his best, then it's the same as saying there was no one out there with enough skill. Iwata later spoke about how he had led projects. A long time ago, I once said, never say a programmer can't do something. Those words sort of take a life of their own. Dropping the word can't can close doors of possibility. Generally speaking, everything will work out eventually if you put in the effort and push onwards. But everything still operates within certain limitations. On the other hand, during Mother 2, we were in a time in history when there were strict limitations on every little thing. So we said, hey, all we have to do is just go for it. And we did. We managed to break through these walls. But I think that set a precedent that made people expect more than what our collective power could offer. Itoi continued talking about Earthbound's development and Iwata's effect. We were dealing with a tough childbirth, and right when we thought we were going to suffer a stillbirth, Iwata swooped in and worked it out, like Superman. Right when we were at a stalemate, and were aiming to change the programming, he fixed it up. It came to fruition right when we thought it couldn't, and that deified Iwata. We thought that as long as Iwata was around, we could do anything. He continued, noting that led him to becoming overambitious and bloating the project with superfluous things. Iwata concurred that he too felt invincible, but that if pitched Mother 3 now, he'd tell Itoi, it's impossible to do all of it. I'd ask him what elements he felt most confident about, and go from there. The hardware for the N64 was like a dream come true, with all the new possibilities it opened up. It wasn't immune to limits, though. There was still only so much we could do. When Miyamoto and all of us tried to overcome these limitations, it may look like we're gracefully swimming across the water, but underneath the surface, we're desperately paddling for our lives. I have no thoughts other than my embarrassment that we couldn't bring Itoi's hard work to fruition. That we couldn't deliver, even though we announced that we were working on the game. I'm embarrassed that we weren't able to finish it. That's all.
Please understand.
Iwata was a great man and will be missed. My condolences go out to his family and his close friends Sakurai, Miyamoto, and Itoi. I can only hope he inspires the next generation of producers to show half as much dedication and integrity to their projects.